Welcome back to episode 2 of CNBC TV 18 special coverage on the 2016 New Delhi Auto Expo. Now, continuing with our theme-based coverage, we're now going to bring you all the best sub-10 lakh rupee cars that are catching all the eyeballs at the Auto Expo, starting, of course, with this one, which is possibly caught the most eyeballs, which is the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza. Now, this is the company's sub-4 meter compact crossover that is catching all the eyeballs at the Auto Expo right now at the moment. It's going to go up against the likes of the Ford EcoSport. We've already given you all the details from yesterday's press conference. So let's move on to the next car, the next sub-10 lakh rupee car that's got our attention. It also happens to be from an Indian manufacturer. Well, unfortunately for Tata Motors, just before they were about to launch the Zeekr hatchback, they've had to go and change the name of the car, so that launch has been delayed. But when that launch does happen, there's another launch that's slated for later this year after that launch, and that's a car that's based on the Zeekr hatchback. That's the sub-4 meter sedan that you see behind me. It's called the Kite 5. It's still in its concept phases. That's why it's the beta name. It's going to be changed at the time of the launch. Now, this is the car that's slated to become the most affordable sedan from the Tata Motors range. It's going to replace the Indigo ECS. And from the looks of it, it looks quite striking for a notchback and looks like a car that could catch on to the Indian consumers. This is the Volkswagen Amio. It's a car that was launched one day before the Auto Expo, not at the Auto Expo, and that was to create a buzz around it. And why not? It's understandable. It's a segment that's been dominated by the Desire and the Accent for a while now, and it's seen the companies grow by double-digit percentages. So Volkswagen just simply had to jump into the fray with a sub-4 meter sedan that's based on their Polo hatchback. Now, a couple of interesting things about the Amio. You've got a boot strapped on at the back that's 35 liters more storage space than the Polo hatchback. It's not class-leading, but it's adequate nonetheless. The styling, very, very familiar. Essentially Volkswagen, that's not necessarily a bad thing. The build quality is top-notch, and you can expect the ride quality too to be top-notch because it's a car that's based on the Polo after all. The interesting bit will be how is Volkswagen going to price the Amio, because at rupees 5.5 lakhs, the Polo is already a little bit on the expensive side. This, of course, will be positioned above it, and in that sense, it is critical that Volkswagen get their pricing absolutely right. Now, when the Datsun brand was revived, there was a lot of promise surrounding this new low-cost brand that was supposed to take the fight to the big guns like Maruti and Hyundai, take the Indian market by storm, and they were supposed to do it with a hatchback called Go. But when from the same alliance, the Renault-Nissan alliance, Renault launched the Kwid, it kind of made things a little more tougher for the Go, which was already facing a tough time. But that car behind me is a crossover concept that's based on the Ghost platform that looks like the car that could change Datsun's fortunes in the Indian car market, predominantly because of the way it looks. Now, this cross-testing kind of works for the Go, which was already a fairly good-looking car. But there are a few things that Datsun will have to really improve upon. The fit and finish, of course, the refinement of the powertrain, and the biggest concern of them all for Datsun brand in India is safety. Now, behind the Beat Active is a sub-4 meter sedan that's based on the Beats platform. It's called the Chevrolet Essentia. Now, once again, the Beats platform is a very small platform, so to have a notchback design, a boot strapped onto it is going to be a very challenging task for the design team, which they've managed quite well. They've managed to package it enough so that there is enough adequate space on the inside, even though it doesn't look so from the outside. But the design of the car, the styling of the car is definitely something that's going to divide a lot of opinions. We're going to head into one short break, but on the other side, all the essential cars that have been facelifted and revamped in the Indian car market. Stay tuned.
The whole company, not just the R&D engineers, but the whole company is extremely proud of what they have accomplished here, and that too with the Splendor legacy. The Splendor iSmart 110, completely new engine, new frame, new styling, new looks, and this, to my mind, will carry the Splendor legacy long, long way into the future.
Right. Splendor is, of course, very well known. It's a household brand, sir. But when you came up with a ground-up motorcycle powered entirely by Hero MotoCorp technology, one would wonder why didn't you, start from, why didn't you adopt a different name? Were you tempted at any point to actually, perhaps give this motorcycle a different name apart from Splendor?
creating legends is not easy. It takes a long time. Creating brands takes a long time. Marketing new brands requires a lot of investment, a lot of time. We have here with us a legend. Why should we carry its legacy forward?
Fair enough, Mr. Munjal. How do we expect, what next? What's the next frontier for Hero MotoCorp? You've made some announcements. You've entered the export markets that you have not, you haven't been there before. You've set up a assembly unit in Colombia. What are the milestones that, as people who follow Hero MotoCorp, that one should look out for?
Let me for now stay with the complete range at Hero, and you know that in the premium segment, the Indian premium segment, Hero has a small market share. We really need to strengthen our market share there. We need to expand our range there, which is why we brought in a series of motorcycles here at the Expo. The Extreme 200 Sports, the HX250 and the XF3R, clearly showing the direction in which Hero is headed, slowly, gradually moving up the value chain in terms of the engine sizes, looks, styling, and sports.